the Mass Dash, running across Massachusetts for the Jimmy Fund. Welcome to the inaugural Mass Dash Adventure Relay. Thank you for volunteering to be a member of our race crew. As a race crew member, or a transition area captain, you have an important role in ensuring the integrity and safety of the relay. We really appreciate your involvement. What is an adventure team relay? First, the adventure. Our race will feature a breathtaking course with mountains, hills, rivers, and the spectacular Boston Harbor. Racers will run through villages and cities, in state parks, forests, and by green, wide open spaces. Once the race starts, the teams continue through the day and through the night until they reach the finish. In a team relay, teams of up to 12 runners compete against each other. There are 36 legs or sections to the course, and we expect most teams will assign each runner 3 legs. As a runner finishes a leg, he or she will hand off to a teammate who will begin the next leg. This is called a transition. And in other words, at a particular location on the course, one runner hands off to another runner in a designated transition area. You've probably seen something like this on television or in a track meet. It's a handoff or passing of the baton, or in our event, a wristband.
Where we need you, the race crew. As a transition captain or member of the Mass Dash race crew, you'll need to arrive at your transition area no less than 30 minutes prior to the transition window for your area. The transition window is when we expect runners to come through the area. We will inform you of the address of your transition area and when the transition window is open for your specific area. We will also provide you with the maps of the legs before and after your transition area, as well as turn-by-turn driving directions along the race route. When you arrive at the TA or transition area, look for 2 36-inch tall bright green Mass Dash traffic cones. This is the actual exchange lane where the runners will pass through and hand off their batons to the next runner on their team. Unless we provide you more specific details, most of the exchange lanes and Mass Dash cones will either be alongside of the road in front of the TA address or in a fairly obvious location between the building of the TA and the road. In addition, there will be parking for the team's vans and vehicles at each TA. Again, unless we provide more specific details, the parking area at each TA should be fairly obvious. In most cases, 2 portable toilets will also be placed at the TA. Upon arrival, please find and familiarize yourself with the locations of the Mass Dash cones forming these exchange lanes, the parking areas, the portable toilets, and the general layout of the transition area. There will also be a battery-operated campsite lantern at each dusk to dawn transition area. These are TAs numbers 13 through 29. In the event that you have any questions or upon your arrival are still unsure of some things, please don't worry. A member of the Mass Dash relay team will be driving the race route prior to the runners coming through your area. He or she will meet with you at that area, answer any questions you may have, and will be available by cell phone for the entire time that you are at your transition area.
What happens in that transition area? Ordinarily, 12-person teams are broken into groups of 6. The groups travel by van along the course. One team member runs at a time. While the team member runs, her van drives along the leg to the next transition area, at which point the next team member departs the van, waits for the teammate, and ultimately takes up the wristband. The runner who has completed the leg gets into the van and the sequence repeats. This sequence repeats 5 times, and then the next group of 6 in a different van relieve the first van and continues the sequence 5 more times. Essentially, the vans leapfrog each other. So there are 36 legs with 35 transition areas. There are 5 van transition areas at the end of legs 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. The layout of the transition area will include an exchange lane for the runners and a parking area with sufficient room for vans to pick up and drop off runners and race crew to account for runners and teams. The exchange lane for the runners will be marked with unique Mass Dash traffic cones. Race crew members will be identified with t-shirts. The transition areas are open for sufficient time to allow all of the teams to complete each leg. the closer prior to the midpoint of the race or further after the midpoint of the race. From the start the transition area is, the longer the transition area will need to be open. This accounts for the staggered start times and difference in paces of the teams. Safety. We are very concerned about the safety of our runners. Safety is a responsibility of each participant and team. The course will be marked, but it is not a closed course. Certain areas will expose runners to motor vehicle traffic. After dusk and before dawn, runners are required to wear flashing vests and headlamps. In the transition areas, we want to assure that van traffic is conducted away from the exchange lanes where runners are passing the wristbands.
Your tasks. There are 8 particular tasks we want you to do as a race crew member in each transition area. Number 1, check in each runner as he or she completes the leg. You will need to identify the runner and check off the team on a form which will be provided to you. 2, account for each team on the team sheet so that we will provide to you. We want to be sure that each team that has a runner will complete the leg. Number 3, check safety. If you are at a transition area through which participants will run between dusk and dawn, you must check that that runner is wearing a lighted reflective vest and is equipped with a headlamp. 4, direct team vehicles in and out of the designated parking areas and monitor vehicle activity in this area. 5, respond to technical race-related questions with the assistance of a Mass Dash staff chief whose name and contact information will also be provided to you. If you cannot answer specific technical questions, convey these questions to the Mass Dash staff chief. Respond to questions about the Mass Dash Jimmy Fund or Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. If you have knowledge in these areas, please feel free to answer the questions. If not, you can refer an inquiry to the website, which is www.mass-relay.org. 7, please be aware of your specific location, the name of your transition area, and the contact information for the local police and emergency responders. We will provide this information to you. Even though runners and vans are expected to clean up after themselves and handle their own trash, please ensure that the transition areas are picked up and clean. We should be sure to leave these places as we find them.
What to bring? The Mass Dash Relay will run rain or shine, day or night, hot or cold. Please bring printed turn-by-turn instructions of the race route. You should dress accordingly to the weather, including a hat or other head cover, and bring extra clothing for changing weather conditions. You should bring foul weather gear in the event of rain. Bring water, food, and drink. Bring a folding chair. Bring a cell phone. Bring sunscreen for daytime transitions. Bring bug spray or even a citronella candle. We will provide a battery-powered campsite lantern at each dusk to dawn transition area. However, a flashlight or headlamp will be helpful if you are working in a transition area at night. The physical attributes of the transition area are quite varied. As a result, the degree of cover from the elements, sun, rain, and wind, are also quite varied. If you are sensitive or concerned about your exposure to these possible elements, please bring an umbrella, tent, or other portable equipment as you may desire.
And of course, please have fun. Enjoy this unique event and the Adventure Relay experience. Thank you for volunteering to help the Mass Dash, the Jimmy Fund, and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. We'll see you at your transition, and please join us as you are invited to the race finish party at UMass Boston on Sunday afternoon.